Well, welcome and a warm welcome to you from Virginia James Wellness. My name is Libby. Today is Monday, June 15th, 2026, and welcome to our Vedic Astrology, Wellness, and Stewardship channel. Today's transmission title is The New Beginning and Remembering What Matters. Now, each day here on the channel, we take a look at the astrological energies and we explore practical ways we can work with the energy towards our highest good for the day. And today feels especially meaningful as we continue moving through this energy of the new moon. Now, before we talk about the astrology, I went ahead and pulled 3 cards for the collective this morning, and for myself. And I asked what would be most helpful to anyone, including me, all of us that might stumble upon this channel, anyone that might find the message. And here are the cards that came forward for us today. The first is the Page of Cups, so that came out first, followed by, this card keeps showing up, the Seven of Pentacles, and then the last card, the Wheel of Fortune. So together they really tell a beautiful story, and I'll try to get those pulled up for us here so we can see them a little bit better. So the Page of Cups reminds us to always keep our heart open, to continue to be curious, to stay curious, to remain teachable. Life really has a way of hardening us sometimes if we're not careful, but the page gently asks us to just stay open to the possibilities. Now, the Seven of Pentacles reminds us that growth is often taking place beneath the surface, and I've talked a lot about that last week. Many of us are planting seeds right now. We're also healing and learning or building or rebuilding or creating something new, but basically we're showing up every day, day after day, wondering if anything's happening. And the Seven of Pentacles tells us, yes, something is happening. Growth oftentimes occurs in things we just cannot see. And then we go into the Wheel of Fortune, divine timing. Timing belongs to something much larger than ourselves. And so it's important to pay attention to the seasons of our lives because there are forces moving that we cannot always see. Sometimes the job is just to plant that seed, tend the garden, and trust in the timing. And so when we put all of that together, the message is keep your heart open and keep tending what matters most to you, and then trust in the timing of your life. Now, I was sitting thinking about these cards this morning and thinking about ancestry, particularly my own, but ancestry in general. And the older I get, the more I find myself remembering and thinking about things that I was taught. Yes, from my parents, but mostly older than that. My grandparents, aunts and uncles, my elders. Simple things like, how to tend a garden, or maybe I worked with them tending a garden or just enjoyed being with them while they were, is more the way that worked. But how to prepare for something before you need it, how to take care of your home, how to keep showing up when something becomes difficult. And then, yes, even how to fish by the new moon. My father has told the story many times. He pays a lot of attention to the moon cycles, not necessarily the moon itself, but the cycles of life. And when it came to fishing, he would say, the fish are more active around the new moon, the full moon, you're going to catch something. And if it's not that time, especially if the almanac says, don't go fishing, he says, don't even bother, because that's the way it will be. So, it's not really viewed as science, more like observation of cycles and traditions. It could be based on a faith. I think there's wisdom in definitely paying attention to nature and how it speaks to us, because nature itself moves in cycles, and the tides move in cycles, the seasons move in cycles, and I think perhaps we do as well. So maybe part of today's new moon energy is a bit about remembering, because we carry that wisdom and those values, those traditions, those lessons that were planted long before us. And some of those seeds are planted and they're very practical and very useful. Some are spiritual. Some are simply ways of loving and caring for one another. So this Seven of Pentacles reminds us, every generation plants something also for the next. And perhaps one question that's really worth asking today is, what gifts have I inherited that are worth carrying forward? And the more I thought about that, I thought, gee, there's a lot. There's a lot that's worth carrying forward. And then ask ourselves, what seeds am I planting today in my life that may someday bless someone who's to come after me, or directly to my lineage, directly to my children? Now, moving on, astrologically, one reason this new moon feels so significant to us is, that backdrop where Gemini and Uranus. Gemini is associated with communication and learning, ideas and curiosity and connection. And then Uranus is often called that great awakener. It tends to bring us some breakthroughs, some fresh perspectives, some unexpected opportunities. And together, these energies really invite us to become willing to see life differently, practically. Not really because something's wrong, but because something new might be trying to take root or take hold or to emerge. So it's an excellent time, as we always know around the new moon, to set intentions. I have typically called them goals. And I think most people say setting intentions with the new moon. But it's simply asking yourself, who do I want to become? What is it that I want to cultivate? What deserves my attention right now? What stays? What deserves less of my attention? Or maybe needs to be cut out entirely? Sometimes the healing begins just with a decision, a choice, a step. A decision to take one small step toward a healthier direction. So for the mind today, pay attention to the stories that repeat, the stories that you keep telling yourself over and over. You might think, it's too late, I'm behind, nothing's happening. Excuse me, I didn't mean to hit that. Consider, the seed underground could easily believe the same thing, and yet it doesn't. It just keeps occurring every day. And for the body, choose one act of stewardship. And so you might decide you're going to exercise and eat well, which would involve, I'm going to walk, Tuesday, Thursday for 20 minutes. That's my goal. That's my intention. I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to meal prep 3 healthy meals, 5 healthy meals, whatever. Set your intentions. And, a lot of times people will say, I'm going to lose 5 pounds. There's nothing wrong with that goal or intention if your intention is, I want to lose weight to become more healthy. But I've found if you make it a little more specific, then you might not lose 5, you might lose 3 pounds. And in one sense, you don't meet your goal if you say, I'm going to lose 5 pounds, that is my goal. But in the other way, you do lose weight. And as a woman, we fluctuate probably between 3 and 5 pounds, depending on hormones and natural cycles that we have. And so it's hard, really, sometimes to set the intention attached to a number and a very, very specific outcome. We used to call them observable and obtainable goals and versus, very specific like that. So the goal isn't necessarily perfection. It really is a partnership with your body. Like they say, when my daughter was telling my mother about getting her eyebrows done, and my mother said, oh, I want to do that. They look so nice. But mine don't match, is what my mother said to my daughter. And my daughter Jenna said, well, they're sisters. They're meant to be sisters, not twins. So some things like that give us the right frame of reference. Another good intention is to, on purpose with intention, get a little sunlight, a little natural vitamin D, even if you know you're not deficient. Even if your doctor says, hey, lady, you've taken enough vitamin D3, now you're toxic, you still need the sunshine. It is a terrible misnomer what they've told us about sunlight. So be a good steward of your body. Be in partnership with your body. Talk sweetly to it instead of harshly about it. Treat it like a good friend. Now, for the spirit today, spend a few quiet moments, just a few, even a couple, even 1 minute will do, reflecting on what truly matters to you. If you get very still and quiet in your mind and you conserve your thoughts and your energy and your emotions and you sit with yourself with that question, it really does give you some answers quite quickly. Sometimes it's what's urgent, but not necessarily what's urgent. What you want to know is what is important, because there's a lot of stuff in life that feels urgent because our lives are moving faster than ever. So listen, pay attention to things that keep repeating in your life. Pray or meditate. It doesn't matter which one it is. Whatever is right for you. And journal, or just simply write it down. Sometimes we don't have enough time to journal. I never had a lot of time to journal, but I could write a thought down, particularly a goal. Sit quietly with your thoughts. Conserve all of those urgent thoughts for a bit. Set them aside. What is important to you as a person? Say your own name, like I might say Libby, me personally, not work. Those are different sets of intentions, okay? They're important, of course, but without you, the work doesn't get done. So sometimes the Spirit speaks most clearly when we just stop and listen. We don't try to force outcomes or force answers. Now, as far as today's energy with love and relationships, it encourages openness and sincerity, which I'm sure you have already. So the Page of Cups reminds us of being open, opening our heart, a kind word to someone that you love and loves you back, a thoughtful text, a thank you, a meaningful conversation, anything that will strengthen the connections. Far more than you realize, they're very important, perhaps some of the most important. Now, for career and finance, the Seven of Pentacles, if I can get it picked up here, it encourages us to be patient, but patience and consistency. So keep learning, keep building, keep planting. Not every single effort produces immediate results. In fact, it's quite the opposite. But every healthy effort supports the roots of what you are wanting to grow and build for your life. Now, for health and wellness, you're going to focus on making sustainable choices over dramatic ones. So, again, like I said, an early bedtime, prepare a healthy meal. Yesterday, I talked about ways to prepare a fairly healthy and easy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, keep a promise to yourself. If you need to go see about your prescription for your glasses, keep that promise. Or that 1 degree of change. I want to go to walk on Tuesday and Thursday for 20 minutes. Keep that promise. Don't break that promise to yourself. Consistency always matters far more than intensity. Intensity usually leads to some type of burnout. Not always, and sometimes we can handle it very gracefully, but consistency, effort brings results. The consistent effort is what brings results. It just is. Now, before we close, I pulled a card that's our final card for today's energy. And it's funny, these cards always tie in beautifully and easily for a beginner of me, a beginner of tarot, and a beginner of the love of astrology. In my retirement, those two things have been limitless amounts of actually fun and joy and excitement, and another avenue to my spirituality, which has been fabulous. So I hope that you can feel that energy. Now, what came through today is the Fool, the number 0. I couldn't think of a more perfect card for this new moon and starting over than the Fool. So the Page of Cups opens the heart. That's the wrong one. The Page of Cups opens the heart. The Seven of Pentacles, planting those seeds for the new moon and trusting in divine timing, which is our wheel of fortune. Those are our first steps. And the Fool doesn't have all the answers. I, as an Aries, I always want all the answers. Give them to me so that I can, with fire, move forward, bull my way through life. But the Fool doesn't have every answer. The Fool doesn't know where the path is going to actually lead them. The Fool just trusts the next step and then appears and shows up and does what is needed. So that feels very much like today's invitation. So open your heart and remember what matters to you, what is most important to you. Honor the wisdom that has been handed down to you. Before your meditation, think about the oldest person you can remember is a kid before life kind of got in the way of some of your innocence. And what wisdom did they have? What good seeds did they plant in you that you remember? And then you go forward and plant those same seeds. Trust in divine timing and be patient with that and just take the next step. So I think with that, we will go to our affirmation that I wrote for us today. I'll read that to you. It says, I keep my heart open to new possibilities. I honor the wisdom of those who came before me. I trust the seeds that I have planted, and I trust divine timing. I move forward with faith and gratitude and an open heart. I hope that this message might have reached someone outside of just me today. And if it did, I'm so glad you heard it. I hope it was something that resonated with you as it did with me. I wish you a happy, happy day today and always. And with that, I think I'll close and I'll see you tomorrow.